Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Looks good. Looks like we are going. Okay, so good morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 7 of the Spring into Simple Decluttering Challenge. So this means we are officially halfway through the challenge. So if you're still with me, you've made it halfway. That's like a big deal. So good for you. And I was going to say, if you have, skipped a few days or are a few days behind, don't stress about that. The key is that you just try to do what you can. Pick up wherever we are. Go back to the days you missed if you want. You don't have to. You can just keep going where we are. The important thing is that you're just decluttering. So good job for making it here, making it this far. I would love to hear if you're noticing a difference in your house yet. Like, how does your bathroom feel? Are you noticing the results and the benefits of the decluttering you've done? Is there anywhere else in your home that you're noticing a benefit or maybe excited to see more benefits? So I'd love to hear if you're noticing any of that. And today you might notice we're somewhere different. I'm in my kitchen today because we're continuing to declutter in the kitchen, and I wanted to, after I kind of talk about today's task, I wanted to show you just a really simple trick that I did in here that has been wonderful for us. So I brought you in the kitchen today. So today's decluttering task, we're continuing in the kitchen. We're going to work on dishes and glassware, specifically like your everyday dishes and glassware first. Of course, if you have more time, you can always do more. I was also going to mention, I hope the sound is okay today. It's a little echoey in here, and this morning, just as we were heading out the door, my little guy broke my microphone. So I hope that the sound is coming through okay. But yeah, morning chaos, I guess. Oh, and Cheryl's getting things in order. That's awesome. Very good. So for the dishes and glassware, today we're just talking about why you might want to declutter your everyday dishes. I have found, and I've heard from other people as well, the more dishes you have, the more dishes get used every day. So, which, by the end of the day leaves you with a lot of dirty dishes. When you have, a cupboard full of plates and bowls and cups, it's really easy for you and other people in your family, anytime you are having something to eat or want a drink, to just grab a new plate, a new glass, and then by the end of the day, that's a lot of dirty dishes to deal with. And even if you have a dishwasher, like we have a dishwasher that I love and use every day, and it fills up the dishwasher, and then there's still stuff that can't fit in, and it just, it's a lot. It adds to the stress level, and, video's getting interrupted some. Okay. Hopefully it will just kick in here. Yeah, so anyways, it's a lot of dirty dishes that can just pile up. And so one simple solution is to just have fewer dishes available. It might mean that you have to rinse off a plate and use it again, or reuse your cup. That's our big thing in our house. Is I definitely do it. I encourage my kids to. It's a work in progress, but we reuse the same glass throughout the day. So instead of getting a new glass each day, you just reuse the one you were using. And it's amazing, when there are not as many in the cupboard, you just use fewer, and you look for the glass you had earlier and refill it instead of just getting a new one. So it's one of these little things that it's a small change, but it can really make a big difference. And of course, you have to decide what is going to work for you and your family. Some people, I have heard, they've gone to down to just one place setting per person. Other people have, enough to last them the day, and then they run the dishwasher at night. So if you have just one place setting, then after every meal you would quickly wash the dishes. Or if you have a few more, to get through the whole day and then run the dishwasher every night. But the thing is, what I like to kind of judge it on is, at the end of the day, I kind of want my cupboards to be empty. Like, I kind of want everything to be used, because that tells me we don't have extra, we have what we need, we're not doing without, but we don't have, a big stack of plates still, and it's the end of the day already. So you have to figure out what works for you. There's no right or wrong answer. What I'd really encourage you is just to be open to trying it. I know often we think, like, I need 12 place settings because that's just what I've always had. But just be open to experimenting with having less. When we not recently, quite a few years ago, replaced our dishes, we got an 8 place setting, and that I was like, oh, I don't know if that'll be enough. And it's been more than enough. I can tell you I have also broken quite a few dishes. I'm like clumsy. So I have broken, we're probably down to about 6 place settings now, maybe even a few less bowls because I tend to break those the most. And it's fine. We haven't had to do without. I haven't noticed anything. I don't feel like we don't have enough. We have some extra dishes for guests, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But yeah, I would just encourage you to be okay with trying it, just to see. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. This is a great time to use the maybe box and just take those extra dishes and put them away and see what happens. And just give it a try. You might not even miss them, you might get them out of here and not even notice they're gone. So I really encourage you guys to try. Just having fewer dishes, reminding yourself that will be fewer dishes to wash and load in the dishwasher, unload out of the dishwasher. It just makes life easier in that sense. So like I said about guests, the one big concern I hear from people when I talk about this is, well, what do you do when you have company or guests at the house? And of course, that's an important part. I mean, if the last 2 years have taught us nothing, it's that being able to have friends and family in our homes is so special. So what I have done is I have our everyday dishes are very simplified. That's what we use all the time. And then I have our guest dishes that I can pull out when we have more people here. So they're not stored with our everyday stuff. They're stored in another cupboard, kind of out of the way, not very convenient, just so that we don't end up grabbing them every day, but then when we do have guests, they are still here. So that can be something you can do, is just store them maybe up high, maybe somewhere less accessible, just somewhere where they're available when you have guests, but they aren't really handy for everyday use. So that's how I like to do it. And again, I really encourage you, even when you're doing, setting aside dishes for guests, I really encourage you to be really honest about how many you actually use and need, because we don't want to just end up shuffling clutter from our main dishes cupboard to another spot. We want to only keep what we actually use and need. So just, really encourage yourself to be honest about what that amount is. What do you actually need for guests? So that's kind of today's topic, just seeing if there is anything you can let go of. Do you have extra bowls or plates that you rarely use? Try putting them away for a little while. Do you have extra glasses that you rarely use? If you have fancy glasses, we're not a very fancy family, so we don't have these. I have, a few wine glasses and then just our everyday glasses that we use, but I know some people have different glasses for different types of drinks and different types of wine and different types of other fancy drinks. If that is something that you have, I really encourage you to first be honest. Do you actually use those? Or is it just something that you think you should have, or it feels important to have? I mean, if you're someone who wine tasting and having that is really important to you, of course, keep the wine glasses that you use and love. But I just encourage you to just be honest if it's actually something you use and love, or if they're just kind of there because you think they should be there, or is there something that could do multiple purposes? My husband will make his little cocktails in the same glass my kids drink juice out of. So for us, we're not fancy, it doesn't matter to us, so I just encourage you to really think, is that something that's important to you or not? And so today I wanted to show you with my own glasses, because I did a little tweak recently that has made a really big difference. So we have, our regular everyday glasses, and then we had a few extras that I had for when we had company. And we used them all, it was the right amount, but I noticed when they were all in the same cupboard, just in the same spot, they were all getting used. And we're a family of 4. I'm like, there's no reason why I should have, the entire top rack of the dishwasher full of glasses by the end of the day when there's just 4 of us. So what I did, I'm going to open this cupboard. So here's our There we go. Here's our glasses cupboard. So you can see like the bottom two shelves are our everyday glasses. We have 6 little ones, 5 taller ones. I broke one of those too. And then a couple of bigger mugs. And then up top are the glasses that we use when we have company. So those are just extra. We don't need that many every day. Those are for when we have people coming to visit. But when they were all, I previously had them all on these 2 shelves, and I think, I was trying to remember what I had up there. I think I had like my cheese grater and apple slicer from when my kids were little, and I imagined them like grating their skin off. So yeah, we had all the glasses on the bottom 2 shelves, and they were all getting used. And it was just driving me crazy because there was no reason why someone couldn't walk around the house and find the glass they already used and reuse that one. So I just moved them to the top shelf. I didn't even actually tell anyone in my house that I did this. I just moved them up there, and nobody uses those anymore. They are like, it's like they don't exist. So we just use our everyday glasses. People find their glass when they need another drink, and yeah, it just, now I don't have like a sink full of dirty dishes at the end of every day. So like just little tweaks like this, just moving something out of your like, everyday normal spot, just makes it a little bit, it's honestly like it doesn't exist anymore. It's not for everyday use. And so that has made such a difference. And it took 2 minutes. Another benefit about having less is we have flexibility in our cupboards because they're not jammed full. So I could easily like wiggle things around and it was fine. So that's another benefit as you do this work. If you need to switch things up, it's so much easier. So yeah, I just thought I would share that because that was one simple switch and shows you that when you have more available, they will all get used and all end up dirty. But when you have fewer available, nobody notices. Nobody's saying like we don't have any glasses in our house. It's just fewer dirty dishes at the end of the day. So I just thought I'd really share that because that's just one example. And I mean, I could have gone further and moved them to actually like a different cupboard with our guest plates and where I keep all of that stuff. But I thought I'm just going to try this, and it's worked so well. So I really encourage you just to try it. Try out a maybe box. Put some of the stuff away and see what happens. You just have to try it and see what works. And Kateri says, we had 8 big cups and 7 end up getting broken at different points. Talk about decluttering, right? That's what, I'm so clumsy. I always break things, and then I'm like, well, that's one way to declutter. So, yeah, I guess be clumsy. And then you don't have to make decisions about stuff, right? So that's today's task. I hope that kind of makes sense. Just challenging yourself to see if you actually need as many as you think you need. Of course, today, do what you can in the time you have, as always. Again, we're breaking the kitchen down into these really small steps so that it doesn't feel overwhelming. It doesn't feel like you have to declutter your entire kitchen today. We're just tackling this one step, and just this step is actually kind of more of an experiment, just to see what will happen. So if you do want to continue on and you have more to do, feel free. You can do anything else. You could do maybe like your utensils or your cooking utensils or your bakeware or your cookware. You can always do more. But in the meantime, I just really encourage you, first get rid of any cups or plates or bowls that you know you don't like, you don't use, you don't want. And then just try, just consider the idea of having fewer everyday dishes or glasses. So that's today's task. Before I go, there was a question posted in the group yesterday that I wanted to address because it's such a good question. So this video is a little bit longer. I apologize for that. So if you want to go, that's the end of today's decluttering task. Now I'm going to just talk about something else. So Lori had posted in the group saying that she struggles to get rid of stuff that is perfectly good, perfectly usable. She just doesn't use it or need it. But she feels it's hard to let it go because it's perfectly good stuff. Why would you get rid of stuff when it's perfectly good? So this is such a common struggle when we're decluttering. I don't know anyone who has been decluttering and hasn't struggled with this. myself included. Like, this is a tough one because it feels wasteful. It feels like you're wasting money. It feels like, well, I will probably need that or use that eventually. But what I'd really like to encourage you is to remember that this is actually more of a mindset shift. If you have decided that you want to declutter and you want to have less to manage in your home, you want your home to be easier to manage, you want breathing room, you want more time for other things, then you have to remember it's perfectly good, but you're not using it. It's not useful to you. It's not adding value for you. So even though it's perfectly good, even though you could use it, if you know that you don't need it and you're not using it, it's not useful to you. So let it go. And one thing I like to remind myself of is I can let this perfectly good thing go, and someone else who really will use and appreciate it can find it, and it will add value to their lives. Instead of sitting, in a cupboard or in the back of a closet in my house, I can let it go and actually let it serve its purpose and be useful to someone. And I also like to kind of remind myself that kind of like an abundance mindset, or maybe a gratitude mindset. Like, if I have so much stuff that I have extra stuff that I don't actually use or need, that's a wonderful thing. Like, I have enough that I can share with others who maybe don't have enough. So that's one way I like to think of it. Instead of, I remind myself it's a perfectly good, useful thing, but it's not useful to me. So let's share it with someone who it will be useful for. And I really encourage you, choose your favorites, choose the things you use and love, and just let the rest go. And remind yourself that you're going to give yourself more time, more space, more peace in your home, all of these really good things. So it's kind of just a mindset shift for that one. There's no, easy answer. It's just thinking what you actually use and need, and then being okay with letting it go. And then, of course, using that as a lesson moving forward when you're shopping and when you're buying things, to remind yourself, like, I have enough, I don't need any more, this is going to be another perfectly good thing that I will not use and eventually have to give away. So I hope that kind of answers that question, because I know this is a super common struggle. But it's just kind of switching your mindset and remembering that you want to keep the stuff that is useful to you, that's adding value to your life. And if you have more than you use or need, it's not adding value to your life. So I hope that answers that question. If you guys have more, questions like that pop up, please post them in the group, because it's fun to be able to talk about some of those things and 100% know that you're not alone. If you're struggling with that, or if, it has kind of been a challenge for you, I guarantee you, probably just about everyone, and if not everyone, at least a good chunk of people struggle with that same thing. So thank you, Lori, for that question. That was really good. So I'll quickly wrap up today's video. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. I know it's a bit longer. I'm going to head next into the group. I saw some pantries as I was logging in, so I can't wait to check those out more. I'll be back tomorrow with our next Facebook Live, 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time again. And yeah, keep posting. I'd love to hear what you think about the idea of experimenting living with fewer dishes. Or if you already are living with fewer dishes, I'd love to hear about that too. It could be really encouraging for other people who maybe have, a cupboard full and are looking for some motivation to have less. So keep posting. We'll be back here tomorrow for our next chat. And thank you, everyone, and happy decluttering. Bye, guys.